This is the spiritual download. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I want to talk about some recent openings here on planet Earth and in consciousness. There's no difference really between your awareness and everything else. So let's just kind of start with there. Dive into your own awareness. Dive into your own awareness. What do you see? Hello to the viewers. What do you see as the viewer? What are you viewing from your awareness? Now try to become aware of everything that you can possibly be aware of from your mind's eye. Where's the difference between I'm aware and what you could possibly be aware of? Now dive into your heart. Notice the awareness that your heart has. Breathe into your heart. What do you see? Do you feel a closing or an opening? Now go back to your awareness of the space you're in. And then try and connect that with the heart that you just felt. This is what I'm going to be talking about today, is this connection. Especially the silence and the stillness of this oneness. Even the sounds, I don't know if you can hear the sound of some sort of truck outside, but those are included. All human sounds, even though human sounds might be kind of annoying sometimes. What do you feel when you simply don't judge these sounds? Now, your heart is the center of yourself, not your mind. See the difference between your heart and your mind. Now try and connect that with stillness. Can your heart become still? Can you feel the stillness in your heart? That might also lead to a stillness in your mind. So also notice that the stillness is the same stillness of everything. There's no difference between you and everything else. Everything else comes from this stillness, and you also come from this stillness. You come from oneness every single moment. Right now, you come from oneness. You are oneness when you are present right now. You can say, I am present. My heart is present. My mind is opening to presence. My body is relaxing. My body is rebalancing back to stillness. One of the comments is talking about isolation. This is an opportunity to dive into stillness. The earth is literally becoming more still because human beings are becoming more still. There are fewer trucks on the road rattling around the earth. Our mentality that we can treat the earth without reverence is no longer going to be the way of life or our philosophy. Communing with nature is our new philosophy here in the Western culture, but in the Eastern cultures, non-Western cultures like in Africa and South America, right? Living with nature has always been who we are and how we do things. There wasn't even a concept of nature because everything was nature. We are nature. Human beings are nature. You are nature. Your mind is nature. Your heart is the center of nature. Our hearts, since all of our hearts are the center of of nature, we share the same heart. The question comes, do you think humans are like computerized cavemen? I guess I don't quite understand, but so there's something, our awareness, yes, there's something about consciousness that is like the matrix or like a computer algorithm. The algorithm, though, was not made by humans. The algorithm was made by God or nature itself. Nature or God created itself by creating an algorithm out of the absolute intelligence. That which created the Big Bang is here now, creating now. The Big Bang is now it's creating all of this universe that we experience, all of this seeing and touching and feeling that we experience as human beings. So we're not like cavemen in the sense that we're no longer as in touch with nature as we were when we were cavemen. But we have what's called grown up, meaning that we have used science and logic to begin to see what the earth processes are in the physical world. So you go to high school and college to learn about the laws of the physical world, right? You don't go to school to learn about the laws of consciousness and spirituality. You will not get taught anything about how consciousness works in school. In school, the most important thing that you learn in school is respect. Okay, you're taught respect in kindergarten, and then that lasts all the way until you're graduated from college. Actually, there's less talk about respect in college. So kindergarten is more important than college because respect is the first pointer of the finger to love. Love is the lesson of life. Let me repeat that. Love is what we're here to learn. A lot of the activities that we do in life that come from our thoughts lead to more suffering. If we live in love, we will suffer less. Correct. Love cannot be learned because it's our nature. However, we have forgotten love here in the Western culture that has spread around the world. We have forgotten love because we've forgotten ourselves. We've forgotten our hearts. We've forgotten to love ourselves. In school, we're taught not to love ourselves because you're always needing to be more. You're always needing that high GPA. You need to go to that Ivy League school. You need to get a high-paying job and have a high status. People think that you need to gain a high status in order to be loved. No, you are loved when you are yourself. The next question is, or comment, maybe start by forgiving your body. Forgiveness of your imperfection. Notice that your body is both perfect and imperfect. Try and live from the perfection of your body a little bit more than the imperfectness that you've been taught by society and your background and school and family. Your school and your family taught you how to survive as a human being, but in a way that's out of balance because it's not connected with everyone else's heart nor your own heart. So that's why we need to relearn how to love, relearn how to love yourself, and relearn how to love others. By loving others, you love yourself. By loving yourself, you love others. By loving your body, you love yourself. You live in love when you love your body. You can say, I am in love with my body. I am in love with my mind. I am in love with my heart. I am in love with everybody. Not see if you can feel that love, that in love feeling that you've had for somebody romantically. Now bring all of that love and channel it into everything you're aware of. Spread the love from your romanticism to your daily life. Another comment, I think schools should start teaching common sense rather than courses. Yes. What is common sense? Is the present moment. Living in the present moment is the thing that makes the most sense. It makes more sense than all of the math that you've ever studied. It's simpler and more profound than math. Living from your heart will bring you to your natural happiness in every moment. If you imagine this, if you studied all of the math that you could possibly study, right? There are mathematical geniuses out there, Harvard professors. Now, why would they also not be as happy as someone who is, say, an artist and makes $50,000 a year? How is it possible for some artist who doesn't make much money compared to a Harvard math professor who might be teaching his favorite math course every day? Okay, he's not applying, he or she is not applying what they're learning to their daily life. It's all concepts. It's all here. Like, oh, like the equation of pi is equal to blah, blah, blah. I don't know enough math to describe in a profound mathematical equation. Okay. What mathematicians and scientists don't know is that they're studying God. They're studying nature, which is how God's mind operates. Nature is God's mind. Living to share the love, diversifying into atoms, cells, planets, human beings, animals, in order to have diversity of experience, diversity of ways of sharing love and creating more love. It's here where words are not, words can't describe here and now, how the here and now is both minuscule, tiny, 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 but that tininess is the same as the Big Bang, is the same as the universe expanding even more. And your heart is the center of all of that. Your innocence is the center of all of that. Your childlike happiness is in the center of all of that. Your imperfection, your judgments get in the way of you living from your center, your centerless center. Once you realize that your center is centerless, that you have no, that the idea of self is just an idea, that's when you find your heart. Seeing that you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight against the universe. The universe is your heart. Why would you need to fight against your heart? The next comment is that tends to infinity. Yes, infinity, there's different levels of infinity, or infinity gets brought into existence in a multiplicity of ways, meaning, like if you study math, there's actually different types of infinity. Okay. One way of going into infinity is to the smallest, most minute. And the other type of infinity is stretching the other way, where you're going into the macro, to the galaxies and beyond, right? Those converge into oneness, which is right here for you. Infinity is right here for you to live from. Are you ready to live from infinity? Are you willing to give up yourself to live with infinity? Infinity cannot be grasped by your mind. Correct, it cannot be grasped by your mind. But it can be become. That doesn't make any sense in English, but you can become infinity, because that's what you are. That's what you have always been and will be. All right, this is kind of getting out of time and space, because time has a beginning and end, but the present moment is truly timeless. It's not in time. The present moment is also not space, because space we think of as big, but spacelessness is both big and small. The next question is, the unfolding of nature is deeper than most think. The earth is neither a plane nor a planet. It is a wave that is an aspect of the divine or God, infinite. Yes, correct. It is a wave. So consciousness is a wave coming out of the present moment of stillness and silence. So all of this phenomena, including yourself, you are a phenomena. You are a phenomenon. You create yourself as God. God is creating itself by becoming human beings and planets and stars and bugs. God wants for you to be yourself. God is creating you so that you listen to how you shall live, not by being moral, but by listening to God. The way that you live is not through rules of your mind or of society. It's to listen to your heart and listen to God is how you should live. I am in the infinity. The infinity is in me. You are infinity. You are yourself, but paradoxically, you're also infinite. So you are this finite story of human being, that likes certain things and does certain things. If you imagine yourself waking up in the morning, the thoughts that enter your mind, you're literally recreating your own ego when you wake up in the morning by needing to eat breakfast and then going to work or school, putting on clothes, right? That thought process of you choosing what you should wear for the day is coming from here and not here yet, right? You're not just channeling the present moment and letting the present moment take control of your life, right? For me, my life is becoming more and more dominated by God. So I need to find the courage. We need to find the courage of living from being spontaneous in the moment and trusting. So relaxing. Craig Holliday talks about relax. So relax your body and your mind and your heart. So that means practice some yoga probably, or meditate, or go for walks, or just go outside. Then let go. That's the next step. Letting go. Letting go is expansion of awareness. You begin to see that there's an infinite amount of consciousness and that you can stretch out to that. You can stretch out to the infinite levels of consciousness. And then trust. Trust the universe. Trust that you're not in control. The next question is spirituality cannot be taught. Correct. It's not in school. But also, I was going to say this is everything that I'm telling you is irrelevant to your own awakening. I can't use words to help you awaken. You are responsible for your awakening. So it's good to have a teacher, good to have a guru. It's good to love Jesus. It's good to love the Buddha, because those are your spirit guides, your guides. But you have to know that you are that. You are that universe. You are that God. You are that foreverness. You are that absolute stillness that everything comes out of. Another question. Don't let the God dominate you. No, you do need to be dominated by God. Sorry. It should be a balance, not a scale. Yes, it's all about balance. Okay, next question. Sorry if this is off topic. I have problems with not being able to shake off fear. When going into meditative states, I reach a point where I think I'm losing control. Yes, and yes, it's scary. Dive into your fear. Dive into your fear with fearlessness. Dive into your fear, the core of your fear, with relax, let go, and trust. Find your fear. It's in your body, probably in your belly or heart. You also have fear here as well. You will never shaking off fear. It's an interesting thing to look at it. It is kind of like a shaking off. If you watch like the Olympics, the 100-meter runners, watch how they prepare to sprint. Watch how they warm up. Watch how they loosen up their bodies, right? Kind of like this. Now imagine doing that to absolutely everything that is holding you back from becoming your gigantic self. So shake it off, loosen up, really, really loosen up. One really good way of doing that is going out for some sun, get in the sun. You know, probably put on some sunscreen, but really absorb the energy of the sun. Notice when you look at the sun how much fear is forgotten, or it dissipates. The fear dissipates into, basically the fear changes from fear to love instantaneously, and you can witness it, the story of the fear leaving into something that you no longer have to identify as. So fear is always going to be there because you need to survive, okay? But you can have less fear. So we shouldn't be focusing on getting rid of fear. People also fear fear, okay? You should also be try and learn how to become fearless of fear. Becoming fearless requires a lot of decrease of arrogance. You know, I've always struggled with arrogance, thinking I'm better than other people. This is really a really hard thing to admit to myself. Looking into my past, you know, I was always judging other people for not being like me. You know, why aren't people as athletic or something, right? Like, those are very childish thoughts. But also, there's no need to judge yourself for having those thoughts. You actually aren't creating those thoughts. It's your fear. It's my fear that created those thoughts. It's my fear of not being loved that created those thoughts. Next question. It might sound ridiculous, but monsters and demons seem to appear in front of me when I close my eyes. I know it's silly. I know it's my mind doing that. I had the same thing when I was in high school. When I couldn't sleep. I had deep depression. I couldn't sleep because my room, my awareness would be expanded, which allowed for all of these creatures to come in to my room. I always thought that they weren't real. Okay. notice that they don't have to be real or unreal. They just exist in your awareness. The monsters and the demons, but also know that there are angels there too. So, so know that you can actually invite purity into your awareness, like innocence, white light, allowing white light into your awareness. These monsters will go away. Channeling the white light of your awareness will only bring good, but know that sometimes your mind interprets the loss of your ego as bad. So the monsters are part of your mind, but it's the mind, the part of your mind or your body that you've always suppressed or have ignored for so long. Something was taught to you when you were a child or a teenager, and that's being brought up into your awareness when you are calming down through meditation or sleep. Okay, so your dreams are basically, parts of yourself that you've suppressed that need to come into light and need to be forgiven. Everything, like the monsters and the demons that enter into our mind, need to be forgiven from your heart. Yeah, walking in the woods, listening to you, breeze and stream. Listen to that silence of nature with your heart. Breathe in your heart and feel the silence of nature heal you. Yeah, forgiveness of self. Forgive your mind for being erratic. Forgive your heart for holding pain. Forgive your body for not being light enough for you to live in absolute consciousness. Your body will realign itself as you continue forgiving everything that you're aware of. Everything that you perceive as bad needs to be forgiven, but know that everything is good. Know that everything is ultimately good, because everything is happening so that we can return back to oneness. The pain in your body is a pointer. It's your spiritual guide. Your body, your imperfect body, is your spiritual guru. The pain in your heart is your spiritual guru. Your partner, your romantic relationship is your guru. Your friends are your gurus. Nature is your guru. Your own mind, when seen from a bird's eye view, is your guru. When you identify with your mind, it becomes the devil. When you are your mind, when you identify with your overthinking, fear harboring mind, your mind is essentially a box that holds fear. So when you think fearful thoughts, that gets brought down in your body as you move on with life. So your body is full of what are called vasanas, or impressions that you have that are in your body that need to be forgiven and brought back into the white light of love light. So your nightmares need to be channeled towards from white light. Your headache. By loving your headache, you will eventually have less headaches. Unless having a headache in the moment was part of the, the plan of the universe. That like, oh, I have a headache, I need to go to this store, and there at the store you meet someone who will show you the way towards your next meditation practice. And that meditation practice then teaches you how to live in your heart and rebalance your body. And then, you begin journaling about this, and you meet people who are reading your spiritual journal, right? Do you see how this stuff just keeps going all the way back to oneness? So right now we see all of this separateness, all of these different things. We think that everything is different than everything else. That this is that, and this is different, and I'm different than everyone else, and I need to be by myself right now, and in my introversion, or I need to be with others so I can be extroverted. Okay. Everything is happening so that we return back to oneness in heart and in love and in peace. So that's what the trust is that I mean, is trusting that everything is oneness. Not just as a concept. I know it's really easy to say, yeah, I believe in non-duality. I believe in oneness, non-duality. I read Rupert Spira. I read Muji. I watch Buddha at the gas pump. I live in non-duality because I believe in non-duality. Okay, but as long as you have a thought of separation, that's not non-duality. Non-duality is not non-duality. Non-duality is here now, being here now, being in your heart now, here, being in your centerless center, here now. Next question, what do you mean by forgiven? Could you please elaborate on how I can forgive fear? When I'm facing pure existential horror, as if I'm going to die, or come out of meditation and find I've died. So you're going to come out alive. You're not going to die. Trust that you're going to continue. Your life is actually going to become even better as you have the courage to face your fear. Life will expand as you continue to face your fears. But you need to relax, okay? You have existential horror that's somewhere in your body that is a blockage to your love. Love needs to be channeled through your body. Love wants to be channeled perfectly through your body, but your life has created your body to be how it is right now. That's why you have fear. So forgiveness, again, is relax, let go, and trust. Forgiveness will happen naturally as long as you live in your heart. By living in your heart, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to remember, I need to forgive myself, or I need to meditate. I need to go for a meditation walk. I should go vegan. I should do yoga. With these thoughts, we're still not living in stillness or silence. We're not living in our hearts when we have these thoughts. We're judging ourselves for not being spiritual. This is the danger of having a spiritual ego, believing like this, like me, right? Where, I'm like, oh, I do this. Other people aren't doing that. That must be because I'm better than them. Or that must be because they're worse than me. No, people are doing exactly what they're supposed to do because they're going back to oneness too. You're going back to oneness. Follow your path. It's why a guru cannot get you enlightened. You can't get enlightened. You just are. There is enlightenment for everybody here now. But for some reason, some of us don't feel enlightened because you believe that you're not enlightened. It's actually not even, this conversation is not even useful. Talking about enlightenment is not useful. Much more useful is listening to our innocence, our childlike heart, the heart that poets describe, that simple awareness of the beauty of simple things. Next, what techniques do you personally use to discover these truths? Is it as simple as daily meditation practice? Yes, meditation, but yes, much, 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 much more. What techniques do I do? I don't really have a technique. I do things that help me. Like I do things that sound and feel good. Just like dancing, going for a walk, breathing. I'm going to be talking more about the specifics that I do, but one thing that I love to do is called alternate nostril breathing. So you breathe in with one nostril and you breathe out with the other one. And then you breathe in with the same one. Then you switch. So out with the left. So in left, out right, in right, out left. Very simple. Very, very simple. If I had all of the time in the world, I would do that for 10 minutes twice a day before I meditate for an hour, right? I mean, if I didn't have to work a 9-to-5 job like everyone else, I would wake up when I wanted to wake up. I would drink what I wanted to drink for breakfast. I would meditate the exact way that I would want to meditate for an hour without, right? This is all some reality that's not here. So all you got is yourself right now. So listening to stillness is the technique. Living in your heart is the technique. Because everybody's technique needs to be found. I can't tell you what your technique is. Also, like talking about my technique isn't going to help you that much, ultimately. It'll maybe help you in the beginning. Like, yeah, if I say, maybe you should sing more in the car, or dance a little bit more in your room, or exercise a little bit more, or meditate more. That stuff helps. It's very practical, very, very practical. It's a very good starting block. It's what you do if you want to get better, right? But ultimately, you don't need to get better because you're already in perfection. Your nature is perfection already. So one of the things, again, when I talked about spiritual ego, meditating for longer, meditating better is correlated to true happiness, but isn't true happiness itself. So spiritual practice makes it more likely that you enter into samadhi, or perfect stillness and silence. Samadhi. Okay, I mean, for example, samadhi is here now, but entering it fully, my consciousness became consciousness. Just during a night walk, like while walking, I just stopped, and samadhi was what was there. I saw that everything was coming back to where I'm going, or where I'm being pulled to go. My mind, my body, my mind, my heart is going where you guys are going. Because we're brothers and sisters in this thing. We're literally each other. We're literally brothers and sisters. Strangers are not strangers. Does that help you love others a little bit more when you realize that they are your brother and sister in oneness? You see both their imperfection and their perfection. How are they imperfect? Well, because they're a human. But how are they perfect? Is they are like the representation of silence, the representation of God. They're the hologram, or they're a part of the theater of God. God is creating this movie that we call being like being alive. The movie is called Being Alive. And so at some point, the movie's going to end, but will we die, or will we commingle in absolute oneness? What happens? Here, I'm going to switch here. So try and remember what you experienced before you were born. So try and remember your earliest memory. What is that like? Notice the blackness, but also like the machine like unfolding, the dancing of white light that becomes life. This white light, also rainbow light, opens up into what we call the world. And we start, and as we continue to grow from being a baby to a toddler, we learn, or we're taught from other humans, your parents and school, that you're different from the world, that the world is out there, and that you're in this brain and body. Okay. It's better, or a more accurate description, I don't have it on me, is the yin yang symbol. The yin yang symbol. That's a more accurate description of reality than all of what you could learn by going to college. Spiritually, I mean, the yin yang symbol won't really help you find, a 9-to-5 job that can pay the bills. It'll actually probably, if you lived in yin yang and the Tao, it'll actually pull you away from your 9-to-5 job a little bit more. You'll start to daydream a little bit more at work or at school. You'll start to think about, what would it be like to be even happier? What would it like to merge with love? And you just keep daydreaming about that. And then you just begin to realize, wow, I can, if I meditate or if I loosen up or if I go for walks, I can continue this daydream, and that daydream will enter into my life. That the daydream of, can I live more in love? But it's not not just a daydream. It's what's here. But I can't show you that. I can't tell you that. I can't, because my own self is different from you here in this world. In this human world, I'm not you. I'd like to meet you. I'd like to have a conversation with you and share a laugh, but your awakening is different than my awakening on the path. Our paths are different. We eventually our nature is, that perfect stillness and perfect silence, and the heart space. That's how we're connected with each other. But there's lots of things that are different. I don't know what it's like to be you, so I can't give you pointers. I can't enter into you and say, oh, this is what you should do. Nor is that's not ideal either. Like if I could enter into you and tell you, oh, that you should do this meditation practice, that's not helpful because you need to learn it. The you that God wants to be returned to God. That thing that says me. I'm me. I am me. That is wanting to be returned to life itself. All right, I'm seeing that here there's no more questions. At this point, I don't really know what else to do besides being. Being is just being is the only thing that really makes much sense. So I hope you guys go. Here in Minnesota, it's a nice day outside. I'm gonna go outside and feel the sun. feel the trees and things like that. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to sign off here. If you guys like the video, you can click that like button. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.